A couple of weeks ago, we all know, Vince McMahon went from being a billionaire on paper to a millionaire. And again, string the violin for the guy. The man could buy and sell me 500 times over if he wanted to. But one of the reasons that happened is because they oversold how much more money they would be making in TV rights fees, okay, when their deal came up for expiration. And when they didn't get anywhere close to what they promised, Wall Street didn't take too kindly to the news, and the stock dropped like a rock. And one of the reasons that happened is because they tried to compare themselves to other sports, like NASCAR. All the money that those other real sports were getting in these different TV deals, and they thought they deserved the same thing, or something close. Okay, they were never going to get $800 million or whatever that ridiculous number that NASCAR is. And baseball and football, they get even more ridiculous numbers. It's out of control. So they weren't never ever going to get anything like that, nor do I think they thought they were. But they thought they could kind of be in the same conversation. Okay, because we've got 52 weeks a year of programming, live programming. We're DVR proof. I think there are statistics out there that show most people will watch those shows live. Most people watch Raw live. There's very little DVR viewership. And so networks like that. They like live sports presentations. They don't want people to record shit on DVR and go back a week later and watch it. So that's what WWE was hoping for. The problem is, positioning themselves that way, people saw right through it. For years, they ran away from the sports label. We're entertainment. And then when they realized, oh shit, we can make more money if they think of us the way they do live sports, all of a sudden, their tune changed. That was a big mistake. Had they started to embrace the sports part of sports entertainment a little bit more, let's say 5 years ago, when UFC was still at the peak of its popularity, and they were kicking ass on pay-per-view, maybe by now people really would see them as something of a sports property. People don't see WWE as a sports property. Executives don't see them as a sports property. Okay, but maybe if they did, maybe the product would be better off for it, and we wouldn't see people having their tails ripped off on television, and Damian Sandow walking out there dressed up as Vanilla Ice one week, and Davy Crockett or Davy Richards or whatever the fuck he was dressed as on Monday night. You know, you look at the promo packages on this NXT TakeOver show. The stuff with the women, the package with Sami Zayn. That was something, you know, there was something different about them. They felt more sports-like, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one who felt that way. That's what I was thinking while I was watching it. There's something about it that reminded me of a sports presentation. The way they were speaking, Natalya and Charlotte and Sami and all those people. You know, they felt more sports-like. And WWE always does great with their promo videos, but these were different. These were more different than anything that we've seen on Raw or on their pay-per-views. It felt real. It felt like a real competition. You know, it's funny. They call this the reality era. Yet there's very little reality to be found on their main shows. There's way more reality on the developmental show. Now, of course, I say that on the same show where we saw a dude in a bunny rabbit costume, but overall, this show felt more real than Raw has in ages. And the reaction to this show has been overwhelmingly positive, just based on emails I've gotten to my show. And go to any of the other wrestling sites and all the feedback and their mailbags and stuff. Everybody loved this show. People love this show. Even the people who, for whatever reason, may not have loved it, they at least seem to like it. What does that tell you? Raw has been stagnant since WrestleMania. Impact has fallen off a frickin' cliff. You've got Willow and Dixie and all of that shit that nobody buys. There's something to be said for taking things a little more seriously. You can still have some goofy gimmicks and you can still have fun, but your main event matches, your main feuds, okay, your main storyline should never be used for comedy. They should give people a reason to care and kind of get involved and get what's that word JR loves to use? Invested. Get invested in it. And this developmental show here gets it right more often than not. Why can't the other shows do the same thing? I watch a show like this and I wonder, why do we make such a big deal about when people are going to be called up to the main roster? It should be the other way around. Main roster guys should want to be called down to Florida. I mean, the money may not be as good, but it's way more fun when the crowds actually react to what they're seeing, which is more than I can say for WWE or TNA lately.